anything and anything and everything that you can think of that comes to my head, or people that call in, what comes to their head. But this week, we're going to talk about what's streaming on TV, the internet, what people watch for entertainment, not YouTube, things like that, Vines, things like that. We're actually shows with actors and producers and all that good stuff. So we're talking about what's really good, what's been good, and what you can still see on, Netflix, regular TV, HBO Go. There's so many streaming services out there now, and satellites services like Dish and DirecTV, they're trying to stream shows so they can compete with your Netflixes and your Hulu and your Vudu and all the stuff that you do to watch entertaining stuff. And we're going to talk about the bad stuff and the good stuff, and just pretty much my opinion and my buddy Doug's opinion on he watches a lot of TV and movies, so he knows a lot of detail about these shows. And I know bits and pieces, not the greatest detail on the actors and actresses' names, but I know titles. I kind of know where you get the stuff, at least find it on TV or satellite. All right, we're going to get a hold of my buddy Doug, and we're going to talk what's streaming on the 41 Jobs podcast.
What up?
Hey, what's up, buddy? We're just I was just wanting to talk to you about what's good on TV and what's good with streaming with all the services we got out today. And I'm going to talk about my favorite stuff, and I was going to have you talk about your favorite stuff or what you do like and what you don't like. What I like about it is I don't have to watch any commercials. That's what I like about streaming stuff.
Big.
It's awesome.
I wasn't real happy what was just on with Michigan State and IU.
Yeah. Yeah.
Second half was horrid.
I know. I actually finished that one live. I usually always record basketball and football games, but I just kind of gave up and set up my equipment to call you. I just gave up. I was like, oh, man. As soon as I started watching it, they started pulling away. So I was like, that was a bad omen. But
maybe it was.
Kind of sucked. But they're playing at Michigan State, and I don't know. It's kind of hard to win over there. So IU's vastly improved, so I'm happy with them generally, I guess. But
you're definitely calling the guy that watches a lot of TV.
Yeah.
I do a lot of DVR, and I do a lot of Netflix streaming, and as well, I still get Netflix DVDs ever since we wanted to watch Dexter.
Yeah, did you get different stuff still? Does Netflix still have different stuff provided on DVD opposed to what's streaming, or they still do it that way?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can get about anything you want on DVD.
That's awesome.
There's only certain things, they rotate their setup and what I'm guessing they have contracts with their different stations on when they can show things and for how long, and so they have to purchase them from them for them allowed to be shown. And so that's why there's things that rotate throughout the time. People like, why aren't they there all the time? But it's companies with the creators of the show, so.
Okay. Yeah, like I know you have different services than I do. I've got Netflix like you do, and generally I love Netflix. I was watching a bunch of Netflix about a year or so ago. I was watching The Killing. That was a real good show about, it was an awesome show set in Seattle, and it was really cool. I really couldn't tell you the actors and actresses in that. They weren't like household names, but I think some of them ended up going into other shows from that show. But I really, really liked that show. And there was another show, I think the BBC might have created it, but it was a serial killer, and it was like set in Ireland or Scotland. And the lady from the X-Files, gosh, you may know her name.
Gillian Anderson.
Yeah, she was in it, and she was tracking down this serial killer, and it was awesome. And I watched that after I watched The Killing. And my mom's usually the one, or you, usually the people that usually get me on to some of these shows, because sometimes if you just look at it and read the description, I don't always jump in it and try it. And I wish I would be a little bit better about just trying stuff that I see that looks good. but then sometimes either the cover of the title or the picture I might think, and it's not what I think it is. But I wish I could find some stuff right now that I really like. But I haven't really got into binge watching stuff on Netflix and HBO Go since summertime, pretty much. So I kind of like to get into some more stuff. But
The Killing was Marielle Enos,
okay,
and she was also in World War Z with Brad Pitt.
Okay.
And then the guy's name was Joel Kinnaman.
Okay.
And he's also known for the new RoboCop. Easy Money was another show he was in. That's a few of them. But yeah, The Killing was pretty good, and I know a lot of reviewers were upset that they didn't solve the murder in the first season.
Yeah.
It went on to the second season, but I mean, when it came down to it, it was only 2 weeks. Each season was like 2 weeks of crime work, and so it was only a month to solve it in a sense. Yeah. But I don't think a lot of people take that into account. But, I like that show too.
Oh, I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. But I don't know if you saw the one that I was talking about, but I can't remember the name of it. But it does.
Yeah.
It's really, really good if you haven't seen it. I think you'd love it. But my mom and I, we really, really liked it. It was really awesome.
Yeah, I did watch it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I'm trying to think of the name of it.
Yeah, I can't either. I'm trying to look it up right now, but I can't seem to remember it. But HBO Go.
The Fall.
Oh, The Fall. That was good. Yeah, the Fall.
That was it.
And then after I watched The Killing in the Fall, I tried to get on Netflix and tried to get into The Following with Kevin Bacon. I didn't like that. I don't know if you liked it or you tried, but I
watched
it
once a week, and I think it was better that way for me.
Okay.
There's a few, most shows are good about, binge watching one after the other without commercials.
Yeah.
I think the week anticipation a lot of times actually helps for The Following. I did watch both seasons of it on regular TV with DVR. And it was, a little outlandish, but it was just entertaining for when I watched. I probably wouldn't have watched it like you. Like you said, you couldn't get into it.
I watched 4 or 5 episodes. It was just almost like 24 for me. It was almost too much action. I was like, 24, I love 24. I still haven't finished that. I've watched probably 3 seasons of that or 4, but it was almost too much. For me, I liked it. I just wish I had more time to finish them. There's so many episodes; it's crazy.
I just like the fact that they went clear across L.A. in 15 minutes a lot of times.
Yeah. But the Carl Lewis traffic report on Bob and Tom, it was kind of outlandish like that. Carl Lewis was running from one place to the other, giving the traffic report. But something that you don't have, and I don't have Showtime.
I have streaming, Showtime, yes,
and I've got HBO Go, but I kind of wish I had all of them, but there's only so much money to go around. But HBO Go, I kind of got away from Netflix the last year and a half and watched so much on HBO Go. I've almost watched everything I wanted to watch. I watched Boardwalk Empire. That was a ton of episodes. I watched Sopranos for the 3rd time over, which is crazy. And, Boardwalk Empire was really good. The first couple seasons, I'm like, going, man, this is awful violent and bloody, and it was almost too much. But then I started really getting into the character stories, and I really liked it a lot. It was pretty darn good. I really enjoyed it. It was really good.
Who's the main character in that? That's
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
He was the main guy, or at least the kingpin of the whole operation. It's just kind of a early mob drama in New Jersey, just right out, right out of Atlantic City. And he had a lot of dealings with New York people and New York mob at the beginnings of the mob and that area in the East Coast. But it was a pretty good show. It was pretty neat. I'm trying to think of another one that was on HBO this summer that I watched while I was doing the good old corn job that we do. I was watching True Detective, the second one. The first one was awesome. The second one, I liked it just because I like Vince Vaughn and Rose McGowan and Colin Farrell. I thought it was really good. My sister and brother-in-law are big HBO people. They didn't really like True Detective as well.
Really?
The second one. I loved it.
Somebody out west, he really loved the first season of that.
Yeah, I loved it, and I loved the second season almost as well. People think, well, it was kind of hard to understand, but True Detective it's just kind of a dark crime drama anyway. It's kind of different, but I really liked it. It was pretty good.
Are you a Game of Thrones fan on there?
Oh, yeah, I watched all the Game of Thrones, and I really like Game of Thrones. It's kind of, when I first started watching it, I didn't have any background about, I heard that it was based on a book, and I didn't know that. And I didn't know it was pretty much fiction. I mean, it was based off of all fiction, but once I started seeing dragons flying and, you know, like real big creatures and monsters, and once in a while I'm like thinking, this isn't based on historical fiction. But I really don't like that kind of stuff. Sometimes I'm like, when I start seeing trees walking and talking and stuff like in Lord of the Rings, I'm like, ugh, kind of turned off, but not anymore. I really, Game of Thrones is awesome. I think it's just really cool.
Well, it's actually, it gets into politics.
Yeah.
It gets into what they call geopolitics as much as anything, and they have just great acting too, so that helps.
Yeah, it kind of, I think that it draws similarities to like the Roman Empire and even like the, you know, the Goths and, you know, in that time period in the medieval times, and it's kind of based off on all that stuff. It's pretty neat. It's pretty cool. I really enjoy it. I can't wait for the next one to come out. I just wish it was easier to get some of this stuff. You know, now that everybody's wanting to stream things, it's kind of harder to get it at video stores. Like when I first started watching Boardwalk Empire, I got it from a video store in Marion, and I was watching 2 or 3 seasons through that, and then I got to watch it on HBO Go, and that made it nice. And then I got on to Game of Thrones. Actually, we got like an HBO free preview weekend, and they had the first 2 seasons all in a row, and I taped every one of them, and I said, oh, what the heck, I'll try it. So I watched a few of them. I'm like, I'm hooked. So I couldn't wait for the new seasons to come up. It was just awesome. I loved it. But,
well, Showtime has its fair share, of course, with comedy and dark humor. Is Shameless with William H. Macy, which is, you know, based directly off a British show, which I tried watching the first couple episodes, and it's the exact same dialogue. I mean, it's the Americans just stole it, changed the actors, and changed the location. But I appreciated the American style just because obviously I'm American. They fit better as well. And I think it was a little better acting than maybe what the British one was. But man, it's just a great show.
Yeah, like I've told you before, I watched a couple episodes of the British one, and it was okay. But it's just the cultural differences. I'd like to see Shameless when it comes out. I'm hoping Netflix will get it one day because Californication, I never had a chance to watch that. And I finally got on Netflix, and I was addicted to that. I loved that. It was awesome. I couldn't. I binge watched so many episodes. I was embarrassing myself. But I'm like, anybody who listens to this knows binge watching for like adults our age or even younger or older. It's just awesome. I mean, it's the best thing. I mean, I've got a new podcast coming up in the future. That's what's wrong with the world. Well, I'll tell you what's right with the world is having this ability to watch shows whenever we want with no commercials. It's awesome. I think it overtakes pollution, global warming, whatever, geopolitical war. No, I'm just kidding, but I love it. That's one of the best inventions of all time, of all technology. I think binge watching streaming shows has just been the best, especially series, not just movies, but just series, TV shows and series. I just love it that they're all competing to make the best stuff. And even FX is jumping in, and FX has got some good stuff. And AMC, once in a while, hit one out of the park, and they'll have real good ones, too. And they're trying to compete, and it's good.
Oh, it's all competition. But speaking of things wrong with the world and Showtime, Homeland is a great series. I'm not big on Claire Danes, in all honesty.
Yeah.
But Mandy Patinkin, he is just one of the best actors out there, I think.
I watched him in Band of Brothers on HBO when it first came out, and it was a World War II, and he was awesome in that. And I know who you're talking about. He's good. He was also
You Killed My Father, Prepare to Die.